What's the deal? We back again, PolitiKan the podcast. It's your boy Dank Sinatra. Finna get it in. You know, the NBA had its media day. You know, uh, Gelo finally is getting the opportunity. He gets a non-guaranteed contract. With the Hornets. Of course, Russel Westbrook. He's still in LA, so we got to talk about that. What else we got? Jalen Hurts looking like an MVP, man. He going crazy. PNB Rock, man, that actually solves a murder case from a rapper. They are taken into custody. It was a father and son. And if you didn't know, man, California is giving away reparations in 2023. There's a reparations task force, and about 80% of black people in America will qualify for reparations, but this is only happening in California. So let's get to this first topic, man. I'm gonna bring in the homies. Gonna get it in. What's the deal, fools?
What up?
What
What
up?
up?
What up?
What's popping? It's the
So,
deal.
so I know y'all heard about this, man. Gelo finally getting a chance to be in the NBA. He has signed a non-guaranteed deal with the Hornets, and now two of the Ball brothers are on one team. Lavar prophesies that all three of his sons will play in the NBA on the same team. Do y'all think this is just foreshadowing the future, and do you think that what Lavar, prophesied is actually gonna come true? How y'all feel about Jello finally getting his chance?
My
Well,
first go, Ronnie. Okay, I was about to jump.
oh, go ahead, Mayor.
All right. So I looked into it and I was excited, even though it's a non-guaranteed contract, but they only have 11 guaranteed spots, or 11 spots already wrapped up. So there's still four spots available for him to try to make. But there's some decent talent over there. And one player that's going to be a hard one for him to get across is going to be Dennis Smith Jr., who played for Portland last year. He also played for the Knicks. And I'm only throwing that out there because I've always liked LeVar Ball's like foreshadowing of what he would like to see for his kids and what he believed he did for them as a coach or a trainer, or the fact that he just believed in them enough for them to make it on their own regardless. So, but I just don't see him making it. I'm sorry. Even though they're giving them a second chance, second consecutive year in a row, I think something's going to come up with that whole China thing, or maybe he doesn't show up the way he's supposed to during training camp. He's not in the perfect condition or whatnot, but it's a cool like publicity stunt because they don't have their rosters filled, but I don't really think we're going to give it to him, unfortunately.
Well. I wouldn't say that Jello finally got his shot. You know what I'm saying? Jello got a couple of shots. You know, he had one with Detroit, I think, last year, and another one, a tryout at least. But I definitely think he deserves a shot. You know, Jello, I look at a player like Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver can only do one thing, and he can shoot the ball. He shoot the ball very well, spot up. Jello can shoot just as good. I've watched this kid since high school, since he was in ninth, eighth grade, and he's been able to shoot the ball like that his whole life. So he could do what Kyle Korver would do. He's a lot more athletic than Kyle Korver. He's a lot more skilled than Kyle Korver. So I don't know how he's not making roster spots. Maybe it's politics. Maybe it's LeVar's mouth. Maybe it's something else other than basketball, because basketball-wise, he deserves a spot. Now, to answer the question, will they all play on the same team? Everything, I won't say everything, but a lot of the stuff that LeVar has been babbling has been coming true. It's been coming true, and I believe Jello will make the spot, make the roster. And with Lonzo Hurt over there in Chicago, you never know. These guys are still young. It's a great chance that they can end up on one team. It'll be great for an organization. It'll be great for the league. I think it's going to come true.
Dang, they all coming to Chicago. That's cool. I love it. They all coming to Chicago because we know Ball ain't going nowhere. He got 85 mil for Chicago, so he ain't going nowhere. And he injured. So the other brothers want to come over, come to the only team on this panel that made the playoffs last year, because we're only talking about relevant stuff. So if they want to come on a relevant team according to last year, and be on a playoff team, hey, we take them. Maybe they got better health than their brother does, because right now their brother He messing up my Chicago Bulls because he always injured. So, if he want to come over, come over. What I need Daddy to do, I need Daddy to stop trying to put his boys on the same team. And if his profits come true, then he needed to say, "Hey, we need the Ball brother that's on Chicago to be healthy." He needs to start speaking that out so we can be the first seed in the Eastern Conference again.
I don't know. I'm with the mayor on this one. I think it's a good publicity stunt. They're thinking like, hey, we can't summer league him again because what is that going to do for us? And we got all these open roster spots. The likeliness of him actually making it is kind of very low, especially this late in his career. 2, 3 years ago, maybe, but right now, with fresh 17, 18-year-old talent that they can invest in, I don't see them investing in LiAngelo like that. So, it's big publicity stunt. It's just to get them talking about the Hornets. It's a talking point. They got them getting talked about on ESPN and all in the media. They got us talking about it right now. So, as far as PR, it's a great stunt, man. It works. It's working, and it got us talking about it right now. But as far as him making the 14-man roster, no. I don't see it happening. Not in Charlotte. They gave him multiple chances to make the team already, and he did not make it.
And
So
Caleb,
I
don't
don't see it.
forget,
Bro, you
they
said this
still
late
got
in his
Miles
career, like
Bridges.
he old. That man is 20 years old. Talking about this late in his career. He's 23, 22 years old. He's still young.
Yeah, but his shelf life is only so long, and he's not.
Right,
He's
a
not.
shooter.
But he's also going to have to show that he has some type of defensive strength.
Why?
Because
Exactly.
Carl Korver has zero defense.
Yeah,
It's
but
politics that's keeping this man off the floor, not
Kyle
talent.
Korver,
Politics.
Kyle Korver didn't get caught
Kyle Korver.
stealing in China, and
That's
that's
what I
the
just said.
problem. And that's the shit that
That's
that
what I'm
can
saying.
make or break you. And that
Yeah.
these youngsters need to know, hey, when you 17, 18, 19, what you do at 17, 18, 19 will affect you for the rest of your life. So
Yeah,
don't
when you
think
black,
don't think that the decisions you make because you're young is, oh, well, I'm young, I got time. Well, it don't work like that. And as you can see, it didn't work out like that for Gelo, and that's why he's still trying to make a roster at 22.
yeah,
And at
You
the
know,
end of the
let's
day,
tell the truth.
and
It
at,
don't work like that when you ain't white. That's what it is.
well,
Yeah.
don't
and at the
forget Miles
and at
Bridges
the
too.
end of the day, nobody cares about the balls. Nobody care about the Ball brothers. They don't. Those aren't the three brothers. Those aren't the three brothers they're trying to get together. They trying to get Greek Freak and his brothers together, which we got one of them. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Chicago, we got one of them.
Bro.
So we ready for you, Greek Freak. We ready for you. Everybody trying to get Greek Freak's brothers so Greek Freak can go to their team. They ain't worried about the balls. They trying to get Greek Freak. So they're going to get his brothers to get Greek Freak.
The only
Brothers,
reason
Greek
why
Freak's
they
brothers
get
can't play.
His brothers can play, but they don't care
They
about them
garbage.
playing. They
Nah,
just trying to get Greek Freak.
They're
I
sorry.
don't know, man. I think that at this point, everybody is just trying to find assets to fill out their roster, not necessarily to even make the roster better, to maybe have some trade pieces, later on in the season or in the middle of the season, right before the trade deadline. So anybody that's getting added at this point in the season, they're just a piece that's most likely getting added to be moved at some point during the season. But the Lakers, you obviously ain't signing none of these people because they got an untradeable asset in Russell Westbrook. In the media day, they asked Russell Westbrook, how does it feel knowing that they don't want you here? And he acknowledged it, like, man, I know that they don't want me here. And that shit was like hilarious to me because he was all smiles and he said the right things and he was trying to be positive. But when they asked him that question and he spoke out, knowingly, like, yeah, I mean, how is it supposed to feel when you know that they don't want you? So it's like that hanging over Russell Westbrook's head going into the next season. How good do you think the Lakers can possibly be if they're already talking about Russell Westbrook? They don't want him on the team, and there's talks about him not being in the starting lineup. I mean, you can't do that and then not have him start, and then get Patrick Beverly and all these other wing players, and then think that this is going to translate to something positive. So Alvin, resident Laker, how do y'all figure all this shit is gonna work out?
Well, first and foremost, you're getting way off topic because you're talking from a Clippers perspective, talking about where the season's going to go and all the wing players. We're talking about Russell Westbrook's statement during media day, which was actually extremely professional if you really think about it. If you go back to exactly what he said, "Hey, it's a job. How would you feel if you go into your job and they don't, your job doesn't necessarily want you there? It doesn't matter what the job wants you. You're a man, you have to provide, you're going to do your job." So if you think about it, he's making sure to look good to Darvin Ham, to look good to any other team that he might potentially go to if and when he's traded this year or next year. It doesn't really matter to Russell Westbrook. He's living his dream at this current moment. He's going into year 2 with the Lakers. He's always wanted to play for the Lakers. He already put his house on the market. Don't know if it's sold already or not. If it did, I apologize. But I mean, just think about it. Like, he got a full, I guess you could say almost 2 years of living the dream of, hey, I'm an LA Laker. So if things go left like the NBA always does, especially with him, so be it. He can just chalk it up, and take it for what it is. But this is going to be his best chance to win a championship. And so he knows it. Now back to your whole Clipper ranting type stuff. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to light the fire underneath Russell Westbrook's ass and say, oh, well, there's no guarantee you get to start. Because then if he's turning up against Patrick Beverly and that's somebody that we know is a good, one-on-one defender in the NBA, then that's going to show that Russell Westbrook is back in the old mindset. He can actually do some stuff, even if he's 6-man or if he does start, but comes out early so he can play with the bench. I thought his media day was the best he could have done, considering that there was so much ammunition to shoot this man all the way down to the ground. Like he could have dug his own grave and buried himself if he said too much, and he said just enough. Bang, bang, Laker game.
Enough of this Laker fucking biased, delusional shit. Let's tell the truth about this shit. Russell Westbrook. First of all, no one feels sorry for Russell Westbrook. So what if you and your feelings are, I know they don't want me here. Yeah, because you don't work on your game. You have been in the league 13, 14 years, and you still can't shoot fucking free throws. You still can't make a fucking three-pointer to save your life, and your mid-range got worse over the years, and you still play at one speed. Russell Westbrook, he plays at one speed. He don't know how to change tempo up. He still don't got handles in his bag. Russell Westbrook has not improved his game. He does not fit with the Lakers. I don't know why you just said his best chance to win a championship. Are you serious? His best chance to win a championship has passed already when he was with the Thunder. It passed already. That ship has sailed. He ain't got no chance to win no championship with this team. This team won 33 fucking games last year. Okay, you can say AD wasn't there. AD comes back, it doesn't go from 33 games to a championship. This team is sorry as hell, just like it was last year. It has no defense. Patrick Beverly is not the fucking answer. Like, LeBron is a year older. Westbrook still can't shoot. Where do y'all see this team winning the championship? Y'all be lucky if the Lakers win 40 games this year. That's real talk. That's no hate. LeBron gonna still get his little 25, 7-7 or whatever it is. AD gonna get his numbers, but this team is about to be ass like it was last year. Russell Westbrook needs to go. Bron needs to retire. The Lakers need to blow this shit up. AD can't stay on the floor. I'll be surprised if AD play 30 games this year. The Lakers are sorry, man. Let's face it.
Ladies and gentlemen, hi, I'm Yaja Kedit, and I'm back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we go through this every year, ladies and gentlemen. Let me fix my camera. Okay, there. We go through this every year, ladies and gentlemen. Alvin has pointed out that there's bias on this, on what's going on when it comes to sports. Ladies and gentlemen, we only talk about two teams on this. We talk about the Clippers and the Lakers. This is all we talk about, ladies and gentlemen. This is why they bring me on the panel, to bring a different team. And we're always talking about two teams, and we're just going to go off of last year. We're talking about two teams that didn't make the playoffs, right? We're talking about Westbrook. Just like Ronnie said, Westbrook has not developed his game at all. he was only getting these triple doubles. Really, his triple doubles really don't mean anything. I will take Rajon Rondo triple doubles over Westbrook's triple doubles. Least Rondo can hit a 3 every now and then. Going back to what I was saying, and he's the reason why the Lakers won their bubble championship. But keep going. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're always talking about these two teams that last year neither of them was relevant. But let's go back to the Lakers. Lakers, what always happens on this panel is we go, hey, Clippers is going all the way. Lakers ain't doing nothing. And then what happened last year? Neither of them made the playoffs. And then we all give excuses, ladies and gentlemen, because of injury. Oh, man, Kawhi was injured. Oh, man, Paul George didn't play the season. Oh, man, AD didn't play. Oh, man, first of all, I give the Clippers a little something. Both of your players were gone. Cool. All right. Now, Lakers. Let's talk about you guys right quick. You guys still had LeBron James. He got injured. You still had LeBron James for half of the season. You still had Westbrook, and y'all still didn't make the playoffs. Y'all don't got Carmelo Anthony no more. Y'all might pick him back up, but y'all don't got Carmelo Anthony. Y'all don't got nobody. But you guys are still going to scream out, we're going all the way. And as my good friend Mayor said, Westbrook is his best chance of a championship is with the Lakers. That is stating that the LA Lakers have a chance of winning a championship this year. And that's not a good statement to make. Now, on the other hand, my Clipper people, if Westbrook came to the Clippers, if you guys had Westbrook over John Wall, if you guys had Westbrook, let's keep it 100, people. If you guys had Westbrook, the trash talking that Westbrook is getting right now, you guys would be even more going, oh, man, we about to win the championship again. Because y'all been saying that for the last 3 years, and y'all haven't even made it to y'all ain't going nowhere.
We was right there at the conference championship when Kawhi got injured.
In the bubble.
Last year.
We're talking about injury again. We're talking about injury
We were right there, bro. Come on now, facts. No, not in the bubble. Last year when Phoenix went to the championship and Milwaukee won.
Now, ladies and gentlemen.
So don't act like the last 3 years you ain't been there.
You see my hat that I'm wearing, ladies and gentlemen? This hat that I'm wearing, I'm used to losing. Okay? All right? We're used to losing.
Don't be used to losing. You guys are still like third. You're still in third. You're still third in history with the most championships with 6. How many the Clippers? Fourth. My bad. Because Golden State won. But where's Clippers? Still down there, tied for last. Tied for last. Tied for last. How many retired Clipper jerseys? Y'all?
Odom might get one.
Oh, don't do that. Odom was the best Clipper ever.
Are you denying that Kawhi Leonard is probably not if not the best? Tell me the greatest two-way player to ever play in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard. I answered your question for you.
Okay. Now you answered my question. You answered my question.
Kobe was not a two-way player.
Don't ever disrespect Kobe like that. Kobe was first.
No, he was not.
All defensive team selections.
Come on now, don't do that.
How many defensive players of the year has Kobe got?
It don't matter. He has the
How come he can't be in the conversation with Kawhi? He does not have not one. He doesn't have one.
Stop trying to.
He cannot be in the conversation with Kawhi Leonard. He can't be in the conversation with one of the greatest.
Ronnie, you have to let him die down. Ronnie, you have to let him die down because you used to be a Clipper fan, Ronnie. First of all, before you say it, you used to be a Clipper fan. And Caleb, stop screaming. The Clippers haven't won anything.
Look.
Don't ride Kawhi Leonard's accolades when he was with San Antonio. He did that at San Antonio and Toronto.
Listen, I'm a Kawhi fan. And he might be a little bit better defensively than Kobe because he got the 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. But it balances out on the offensive end because Kobe is a way better offensive player than Kawhi Leonard. It's not close. Kobe is way better than Kawhi Leonard.
But Ronnie, you know.
And Kobe has 9 defensive player, all team defensive player. That's the most all time by everybody, more than Kawhi, more than everybody all time. Kobe has 12 overall. Kobe the best two-way player, man.
I got one question though.
You don't fight with Caleb over anything that has to do with Kawhi Leonard, who hasn't proven nothing in LA. He came home to do nothing but help his uncle make media attention. Like, please.
I got a question.
I'm sorry.
I got a question. So my question, you came out with your question about Kawhi and everything. My question to you, Caleb, is when Kawhi retires, is he going to retire a Clipper or is he going to retire a Spur?
He's going to retire a Clipper. Never. Come on now.
What did he bring him?
He's going to retire.
What did he bring him?
He got 5 more years, bro. He going to get one.
He's going to retire.
He going to get one. Guaranteed. Steve Ballmer we are spending the most money than any other team. And he has the most money to spend. Steve Ballmer is going to buy a championship in the next 4 or 5 years while he got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard here. He's going to spend money every year, unlike Jeannie Buss trying to hold on to some picks. Ballmer finna spend some money. We ain't worried about it. And while he building a new stadium, while he just bought the Forum, because he's spending that with his pocket change. We ain't worried about y'all. Y'all niggas catch up, man. Get your bread up, man.
Oh, that's broke boys over there. Hey, Caleb.
Die, y'all some broke boys. Die, y'all some broke boys.
Were you tired of hiding retired jerseys like this with the faces of players who only stay for a year or two? I wonder what they did with all those hundreds of thousands of pictures of Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan. Were you talking this madness when you guys lost Quentin Richardson?
You can't.
When you lost Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles?
Man, I don't even want damn Lakers fans talking about nothing, man. Let's move on, man. I don't want to talk about the Lakers being sorry because somehow they think that they're a championship team no matter what they fucking put on the court. And that shit is ridiculous.
Before you move on from this, I want you to answer one question. If the Clippers are healthy this year, are you predicting a championship?
Yes.
Okay, it's on record.
Every year that Kawhi and Paul George is together, it is championship or bust. And that is my expectation going into the next.
Y'all must be some par stars because y'all busting all the time.
Bubble championship loss of Milwaukee. And then now Golden State. How many times are you going to, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me, can't get fooled again.
The first year we came together, we end up in the bubble, bro. Come on now. Then the next year we get injured. Then the next year Kawhi Leonard doesn't play at all the whole season. We haven't even had one full season together.
Oh, ski.
The bubble? Come on, bro. Nigga get injured. And now we didn't play all last year. We haven't had one season together.
You know what's funny?
This Kawhi and Paul George could have came to
the Lakers, and Anthony Davis would have never came. And then
whatever, man. Let's get to this NFL action, man. So I don't know if y'all been keeping up with the NFL, but these first couple weeks have been crazy, man. All these games, I think it was 18 games in the first 3 weeks that came down to the last 2 minutes. This NFL has been like the most competitive that it's ever been. You got motherfuckers like Tua in Miami coming out balling, making comebacks. Now you got Jalen Hurts out there leading the MVP race. Everybody talking about Jalen at the beginning of this year. Everybody thought like Jalen Hurts will probably be out of the starting position within like week 6, week 7. And going into week 4, Jalen Hurts has the Philadelphia Eagles 3-0. And they're talking about the Philadelphia, he's 4 or 5 touchdowns the last game. He's out there balling, man. He's doing it with his feet. He's doing it with his arm. They got A.J. Brown over there. They got Devontae Smith. They got targets. They put a good team together. Philadelphia is actually looking like something. Do y'all believe that Jalen Hurts is really like that? Is he really him, or is this just like a quick little hot streak? Even Tim Tebow had a little hot streak like this. So is this something like Tim Tebow had, or is this like Jalen Hurts is for real?
This is nothing like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was a bona fide scrub. Tim Tebow could not play fucking quarterback. He could not do it. I don't know how he stayed on a roster so long. That man cannot play fucking quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the truth. I know it's early. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I don't think he's an MVP candidate. It's only week 3 out of a long 17, 18-week season. So I think it's too early. In the NFL, you know, week by week, things have changed. That injury report changed every week. And you get the right injuries, to the right offensive lineman or somebody on your offensive side, and it could change your whole season. So I wouldn't say he's an MVP candidate. But with Dak Prescott out and the Cowboys looking shaky and that NFC East division not looking so strong, that division is wide open for Philadelphia to go ahead and take number 1 in that division and make a run in the playoffs. So I do believe the man is talented. I do believe it ain't no fluke. It ain't no luck. I'm just saying it's too early to say if he's an MVP candidate or not. I think Philadelphia definitely got a shot, and Jalen Hurts is definitely the truth for sure.
I think it's way too early to say that. I mean, he's doing a great job as a quarterback this season, but I don't think we have to like put too much energy and effort into like a 3-0 start, because I think we've seen multiple teams over the last few years start off really strong and then not necessarily follow through at the very end. But I even looked up some of his stats. Like right now, his QBR is like at 74.7, 74.8. And I mean, that's better than Aaron Rodgers right now, who, everybody's looking at having one of the best seasons of his career because he just secured the bag yet again. So, I mean, I don't know. Philly's always been a contender since they won that last Super Bowl. At least everybody wants to see them contend. So Jalen Hurts deserves his respect because he's doing his thing. Just too early in the season to really say too much, though.
I would chop it up. Is he balling? Yeah, he's balling right now. But just like everybody else is saying, it's way too early in the season. And even with that, I mean, they added an extra game in the season. So right now he's 3-0, but they added an extra game. So, is it really like 3-0 or is it really 2-0? Because they added, you got to play one more game. And let's say they lose next week. Guess what? They with everybody else that's 2-1 right now. And there's a lot of teams that are 2-1 right now. So, I mean, is he doing his thing right now? Yes. Is it the middle of the season? No. And they put an extra game on. Like, you got to play an extra game. So, it's really way too early to come up with anything. But he hot right now. Let's check back in the middle of the season.
I don't know.
That's the only birth that matters.
I really just think that this season is really showing that it's really like ushering a new era. Out with the old and in with the new. People like Russell Wilson is out there struggling. Aaron Rodgers out there struggling.
He's 2-1.
Tom Brady out there. We're not talking about victories. We're talking about them performing the way that we used to seeing them perform. And these are like the MVP caliber quarterbacks that got the bag. Aaron Rodgers, MVP caliber, got the bag. Russell Wilson, MVP caliber, got the bag. Tom Brady, the GOAT, got the bag. But these quarterbacks are all struggling right now. While you got people like Jalen Hurts out there balling, like Tua in Miami out there balling. Who else you got out there balling? Lamar Jackson out there killing it. He's probably my lead for MVP, if you really want to ask me. And for him to go out there and play on that deal.
Josh Allen,
he hasn't really I think that he's been balling, but Buffalo coaching has really, hindered them early on in the season. They really got to get it together, man. They've been making some real bad calls, and it's really been costing them games, especially late in the game where they come out early, they're front runners, and they don't know how to close, man. In that last 2 minutes, if the game is close, the Bills give it up every time. So as far as Josh Allen himself, he's balling. Just like Justin Herbert over there with the Chargers, he's a baller, but the Chargers got to get together as a team, as an organization. You got the dude in Jacksonville. He was just balling. What's his name? I can't even remember. Number 1 pick. What was his name? Sunshine with the long hair.
Yeah. But yet you still forgetting it's still too early in the season though, because like y'all said, you add one more game to the end of the season, right? And you're saying it's only we're going into week 4. I mean, no disrespect to my team, But the Raiders always have a very controversial first 3 to 4 games of the season. They'll either go 0-4 or they'll go 4-0 or 3-1.
No.
Okay, but you know what I mean. Shut up. I'm talking hypotheticals. You know exactly what I'm saying, though.
But we can't bring the Raiders into this though, because we're talking about emerging quarterbacks, and we all learned that Derek Carr is not him. He does not fit in this conversation.
I was only using the
let's not bring bum quarterback into the conversation.
It's early in the season. Get it, y'all. Assist.
You got Geno Smith. I don't want to hear you neither. You got Geno Smith over there. First of all, he was out there talking about they didn't believe in him. God did.
Yeah. We got that game. That's all that matters. And I ain't talking about Geno. I'm talking about the quarterbacks that you named, the up-and-comers, right? Cool. You said they're doing better than the veterans in the game. Well, the veterans in the game know your first 3 games, the regular season don't matter. But I also understand you being a Clipper fan, so you guys look forward to the regular season. But we can't put that in football. You know?
That was a good.
So with the veteran quarterbacks, they ain't caring about how hot you start. It's all about the end. So that's all I'm saying.
So when you say that, who do you think? Who is your Super Bowl prediction 3 weeks in right now? Who do y'all see making it out? The AFC and the NFC. What's your Super Bowl prediction?
I never go against the Seahawks. Seahawks over everybody. 12th man all day.
That can't be serious.
Woo,
I don't know.
I got the Bills in the AFC, and I got I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb, and I probably shouldn't do this. Go against my own squad, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw. I'm gonna go ahead and throw St. Louis back up there.
St. Louis ain't no St. Louis.
The LA Rams back up there. Repeat.
The Rams again?
Repeat. They're not gonna win, but they're gonna go. They're gonna lose this time.
They'll only go if they get Odell Beckham back in the lineup.
They're gonna go and lose to the Bills. Josh Allen is a motherfucker. That boy he's serious.
You see now, the thing is, the Rams gotta get past the Niners, man. We're division foes.
The Niners ain't a threat.
The Niners are a threat, bro. What are you talking about?
Y'all barely beat us by 1 point.
The Niners
cheated. They cheated to win that NFC West championship last time.
The Niners.
The Niners. We were just in the NFC Championship game last year. And it came down to the last 2 minutes of the game before we lost that game. So we were 2 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl. After the year before, going to the Super Bowl. But you're talking about the Niners and you're surprised?
Hey, you guys will never win a Super Bowl with sorry-ass Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback. He is a scrub. He is a scrub. We know he's a scrub. He's sorry as fuck.
You guys only got 1 win. Y'all only got an extra win because you are going against the Seahawks, and we don't got nobody. So those wins don't count.
Seahawks
what's y'all record?
Hey, we're 1-2.
You're 1-2, so you're really one. And not one.
Don't worry about it. That was Jimmy G first week as a starter, taking reps. You know, we had a whole different game plan for Trey Lance. We got to readjust our whole team, man. Don't worry about Jimmy G. Jimmy G about to have a magical season. Y'all remember we talked about the Eagles at the beginning of this. Y'all remember Nick Foles when Carson Wentz was named starter and they couldn't find nowhere to trade Nick Foles, and he ended up staying on the team. And Wentz got injured, and what happened? Foles took him all the way and took him to the championship. Watch that happen with Jimmy G. Jimmy G, MVP, Jimmy, most valuable porn star, Jimmy G, MVP Jimmy. He taking the Niners to the promised land.
He's not winning anything. You add in porn star.
Most valuable bum.
Most valuable porn star, MVP Jimmy, man.
Most valuable bum.
He gets no love. That man gets no love.
All right, man. So we got to get back to this entertainment news, man. So it came out, PNB Rock, man. So PNB Rocks murder. They usually don't find, suspects in these murders of these rappers, but they seem to have a pointer right here. So it was a father and a son duo that was responsible for the alleged murder of PNB Rock at Roscoe's. So it stated that the father and the son was there at the parking lot when PNB arrived. So it wasn't because his girlfriend was posting the location on Instagram or that any of this Instagram post stuff or that they dropped pins and that they set them up. They didn't do any of that stuff. These people were at the location, saw PNB enter, and decided that they were going to do what they did. It was a father, I think he was like 35, 36, and a 17-year-old boy, his son. He involves his 17-year-old son, and the 17-year-old son is said to be the trigger man, and the father was the getaway driver. They have arrested the 17-year-old boy, and the father is now at large. They are looking for the father. How do y'all feel about this? Knowing that, it ain't people dropping your location. It's you moving incorrectly, being flashy, just thinking that everything's sweet. They tell you about LA all the time. Hey, out of towners don't come out here. Everybody was talking about Big U when he was telling everybody to check in, and they said, "Oh, that's extortion." But then you hear stuff like this, and you know that, hey, like, they lurking. You outside with your big chains on, and they will see you and decide to get you in that moment. Nobody got to drop a pin. It doesn't have to be premeditated. If you look like food and they hungry, it's time to eat. So how do y'all feel about this news? That it wasn't like anybody dropping a pin. It wasn't from social media. It was a father and son. And how do y'all feel about this father involving his 17-year-old son? And now his 17-year-old son is probably going to go to jail for the rest of his life. How do
Caleb,
y'all feel about this?
there was another. I looked it up when you sent the topics. They added a 32-year-old female named Chantel with the same last name as the father and son, and saying that she was arrested today or yesterday as accessory in the murder. That she drove them over, but the dad drove them away, like as if she was a part of the whole thing as well. It was on Fox 11, and I'm thinking to myself with all of it going. It was probably, and no disrespect to anyone included, because this is just us thinking hypothetically since we don't know any of the facts. But for this to be one of those up and coming rappers that's not really within our age range, I feel like it was probably the 17-year-old that kind of put on this, put out the idea to Pops, like, hey, yo, I think he got bread. I think this might be easy lick, because what right-minded 30-plus-year-old black male in America is going to think about robbing another black man and going to get away with it unless the perception of more money is already included? Like, his son must have said like all of his jewelry was worth like $1 million and was probably only worth a few $100,000. And that's still not to knock him, because I don't know. Like, he could have been like Ocho Cinco and had real jewelry that he wears on certain occasions and has fake jewelry that he wears when he's out and about. Like, you never know. So it just could have been a bad plan from a 17-year-old looking at trying to get over quick. Pop's probably giving in because he can't necessarily provide any of those different things, and he might be able to find somebody that'll buy it for a better price than what he thinks he could get it off Pond. And yeah, and I'm just throwing out like crazy analogies and stories because I just really don't understand how could any two people, well, now with the third person, even think that this is a good idea, especially at Roscoe's. Not saying that matters, but like, everybody goes to Roscoe's. You're not getting away. There's cameras. There's all kinds of surveillance footage everywhere.
I just want to say one thing. I just want to big y'all three gentlemen up as being positive black fathers, because we need more positive black fathers in our lives. And it's so sad that, this is a type of fathers that we get a lot of times in the hood, is they be big Rocco. So now you grow up to be little Rocco, and they teach you all the gangbanging and all the bullshit and essentially extend their lifestyle onto you. So now you keep living or continuing on their name or their lifestyle and their bullshit. For you to get this 17, like, I don't care if it was a 17-year-old's idea. You don't involve your 17-year-old in anything like this. And the fact that the 17-year-old end up pulling the trigger makes it be like even more prevalent. Like, why are you sending a boy in there to do something like that, knowing that he doesn't really understand the ramifications of what actually he's doing and going on? And you're actually taking away a black father, and now his children aren't gonna have a father to grow up in their household. They're gonna miss that. We got to really focus on the black man being more of a pillar in the black families because, right now, the women is holding it down, and a lot of black men ain't looking too good as fathers.
First of all, thank you for the big up, Kay. For real, thank you for that. We definitely got to continue to do that. And to address the whole narrative of, oh my God, how everybody jumped down the girl's throat for dropping a pin on Instagram. Goofy ass motherfuckers. Do you think that killers and gangsters and niggas that's looking for this nigga is watching his bitch's story, looking for a location? Like, get the fuck out of here with that. Leave her alone, first of all. Second of all, I know the story has to develop a little bit more, but hearing what's going on, it doesn't sound like this was a lick. It sounds like this was a premeditated murder. It sounds like this is personal. It sounds like they know him or know something about him or have some type of history for looks like a wife, a husband, and a son to conspire and cold-blooded murder this guy. I mean, this wasn't no Jay-Z, Rihanna, Floyd Mayweather at Roscoe's. This guy don't got that much money. He got more bread than us, but he ain't no billionaire. So it ain't like this was a lick for them to get rich. This sounds like a personal beef or something that happened, and this was a murder. I don't think it was about getting no jewelry or snatching no chains. I think this was a personal hit or something. This story has to develop more, but I think it was more personal than we know right now. So it's really sad that this man would do this. But I mean, honestly, I don't expect irrational people to be rational, man. We got to stop saying us for the black men, because us are different from the people, the black men that grew up in those circumstances. I can't call myself that. That's not me. I do think productive things every day. I raise my kids, so I'm not going to call that us. It's just sad that part of us are like that, and we'll keep the cycle going with us doing this murdering successful people in the hood, man. It's really sad, man. It's really fucking sad.
Yeah, I need to see more into the story and everything like that. And I hear everything you're saying about you're calling them a kid. And at the end of the day, at some point in time, you are able to make your own decision. And I think about myself at 17. I don't care if it is my dad. I don't care if it's my uncle. I don't care if it's my grandfather. I don't care who it is. I ain't pulling no trigger on nobody. So at 17, you could have enough conscience to go, no, I'm not doing that. Nah, Pops, you better go get somebody else. I'm cool. Oh, you gonna X me out the family? I'm cool. You can go do that on your own. So it's not us calling him a kid. That you 17. You're not a adult, but you still have enough conscience to be like, nah, I know what murder is, and I ain't murdering this man. It's different when we call him a kid. It's like saying, if we're telling like a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, but even with the 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds that's going around shooting schools, we ain't calling them kids. We calling them murderers. So him being 17, he had conscience of, he knew the plan of whatever his parents or his family wanted to do, and he executed it. As far as fatherhood, it shows. I'm not going to categorize it under black fathers or anything like that. I'm categorizing it as, we need more positive men, black, white, Latino, whatever the case may be. We need positive men influence, where it could be the case, even though he's not a kid, it could be the case of his surroundings and everything that made him think that it's all right to do that. Where we need more people like this whole panel to continue to push the message of positivity, so somebody can really think about their decision and have more be more rational instead of just, all right, let's do it. Okay, cool. This is gonna give me clout. Okay, cool. Because that's what's going on around in the world. Whether it's killing celebrities and for their chains or jumping into a school, everybody's going, oh, let me get this clout right quick because it's all over the news. So shooting people is the way to do
it. Yeah, I think it's cap when we speak about. I like how you pointed out, how we were saying he's 17 as a kid. One thing I do want to say about that is we don't call those 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds are shooting up churches and shit. We may call them murderers, but America doesn't. White America walks in on Burger King and buys them lunch. You know what I'm saying? They go and shoot 14, 15 people when they get taken to lunch. You know what I'm saying? And they get the best of lawyers and all this shit. And I'm not saying no murder is right, but this 17-year-old black man is different or black child is different from a 15-year-old white child. He's not going to get the same treatment. He's not going to get the same trial. He's not going to get the same, treated the same by the justice system. So I think that part is bullshit right there when we talk about the age and him being a boy and the circumstances and how he gets treated as opposed to a 17-year-old murderer that's murdering 15 people in the church.
Now I can bring up Kyle Rittenhouse in Genosha. He was at the rally, 17-year-old with an assault rifle. They start, getting unruly. He points the guns at people. They jump him, assault him. He pulls out his gun and he kills two people on the scene. He then gets up, runs towards the police. They're coming in tanks, full riot gear. They go right past him as he's standing there with his murder weapon. Then he has to go and approach other ones, and they basically don't even take the weapon from him. Then after, Trump comes out on a speech and calls Kyle Rittenhouse a hero. So a 17-year-old boy can kill people at a riot and be called a hero because he's a young white boy. But then this black kid can be put in this position by his parents, and he's a murderer. He's not a kid. It's looked at completely different. As far as black people in America, man, we are never going to be seen as human, I don't believe. Like, they're not going to look at us as human beings. So as long as we're not human to them, how can we even look for equality? So that takes me to my next point, man. So in California, Governor Newsom has signed a bill that has already passed. So California residents will receive reparations. This is for the black community. So this is the first time in history that black people will receive reparations for slavery. And we have a reparation expert here. We're going to bring him in, let him introduce himself, and let him inform us of what's going on with these reparations. What's up, brother? Introduce yourself. Let us know what's going on with this reparation situation.
You guys hear me? What's going on?
We hear you.
How you doing? I'm Hunter Elam. Definitely, I've worked with a lot of economists. I've worked with a lot of reparation specialists. Pretty much right now, I heard you heard about the AB. It's AB 4131, I believe it's called. They have going out right now for California reparations for Black Americans. It is lineage based. So that's strictly for African Americans that are, Black Americans, which they like to say foundational Black Americans that lineate from America. If your heritage is within slavery from the Americas, then obviously that's where you would get repaired. A lot of friction going on right now because it's torn between two different parts of Black people. You have our brothers.
You muted.
Oh, what happened? You went mute. You were just good, and then you went mute.
Wow. We can't hear you.
You were good now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a phone call right now. My apologies. Yeah, I was just pretty much explaining. The diaspora it's cut between two of the foundational Black Americans, and then obviously our Caribbean and Africans that came here to America. So they have CARICOM, that's their claim, of which is from Britain and France, of where they will be getting their reparations claim from. Ours, obviously, if you're from America, I'm not too sure about you guys all, it would be from America. That's where we're trying to get our reparations claim from. They owe us. So that's pretty much where a lot of the differs from in terms of inner Blackness. But definitely we are owed a lot of money, and it's something that's a really, really big topic right now. That's trailblazing.
Okay, so first thing I want to ask you is I've been hearing and the number I've been hearing is 350,000 per um per person. Is that
Per person.
correct?
It is. It's 100. I believe it came out to 400 and oh wow, I used to have that number good. It was 430 billion. But it broke down. If you listen to Dr. Claude Anderson, he's really big. There's another gentleman by Sandy Darity. He actually went to Duke University. He's an economist. He's done a lot of the math for us already. If you study him, he'll tell you it's 350,000, I believe it is, per every African American.
Is that before tax or after?
That part right there, right?
Of course, before tax. Dang, come on, man.
I apologize. My daughter, she's at the door. I just got to grab her. I'll be right back, guys. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with 350K, how many people you got in your household, Ronnie? Well, it's 4 of y'all, 5 of y'all?
Yes, 5 of
So
us.
you talking about what? A milli for you right now, my boy, in 2023?
1.7.
That's what I'm saying, my boy. What you got over there? You know, Smoking Joe, he ain't give you your money, my boy, y'all. But it look like Governor Newsom about to give it to you.
Listen,
my question. Oh,
I'm definitely going to have to say this right now. I have to get this out. I call cap. I will believe this shit when I fucking see it. America has never, ever wanted to be generous to Black people in the history. What makes y'all think they about to really do this shit now? They ain't ready for that shift in power. They ain't ready for that shift in power. They're not ready to do that because that's exactly what the fuck's gonna happen. People talk about the Black people that do stupid shit with their money, and they always highlight that. That's a small percentage of us. A lot of us are smart, and a lot of us do know what to do. So if they give every Black person 350 racks, man, come on. It's going to be a shift in power. I call cap. I don't believe that shit. I will believe it when it's here. I don't believe that shit.
Can I speak to that?
Go ahead.
I totally don't agree with. I don't believe it. I'm just telling you the figures. He asked me the figures. I'm with you too, though.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. However, one thing I want to say about what you said is that a lot of Black people, I'll notice they'll say, you got to understand that Indians receive reparations. A lot of others already received reparations. They didn't get. Nobody decided how they were to spend their reparations. They got their money, and how they spent it was their business.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody speaking on how we spend our money is complete disrespect to us. Understand that. A lot of times we do it to ourselves because the Dave Chappelle had went out. Black people are buying this and that. We have some smart Blacks. We're gonna buy. We're gonna build. There's gonna be some that are gonna jack it off. We know that.
Right.
We know that.
Right. Facts. I agree 100%.
So my question to you is, would this be in disbursements or would this be a single payment? Because I don't believe that they would just pay this outright. So if it comes in disbursements, what would be the disbursement, as far as like the calendar? Is this coming out every quarter, every 3 months you get another check? How is this gonna be paid out?
That's a good question. From what I've heard from the reparations, I'll speak on the California Reparations Committee, the AB, I think it's 3141. They're speaking of not just reparating in just money. Obviously, we know that always turns off white people or others. I'll put when you just say, "Hey, we just want our money," which truthfully we should just get. We have to add in other things like education, housing. They're saying in the form of those as well as money. They're not leaving money out. But 350K, I almost want to tell everybody, don't even put that in your mind. They're not going to give us. I'm almost positive they're not going to give us 350K. Some people think we're not getting anything. I do strongly believe we're getting our reparations. However, it will be in different forms. And one of the forms will be money. But it's too early to tell. I couldn't tell you exactly how the disbursements would be on everything. But from what I've studied, they are day by day, if you pay attention to that committee, they're coming up with different ways of how it's all going to be dispersed out.
So
part of it is
are they?
education and housing.
So are they going to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do for your household. We're going to give you guys $5K, and then the rest of your money, we're going to put it into the streets. We're going to make your street better and everything like that.
Right.
I'd rather get a pothole and get hit by a pothole and give me my money. Like you going fill the pothole and say, hey, that pothole was like.
I do want to ask you all one question here. I want to ask you all one question.
Yeah.
In regards to reparations. So you understand that we didn't receive reparations in the past. However, America designed something for us, but they tricked us by adding it and using a specific name that ruined it up for us, which was civil rights. So civil rights was prepared for us in 1964, right? You have to understand that was something given to us, not reparations, but almost like in a form of reparation, things for rights, right? Rights to be able to go places and do things. Understand the name that they used for that, that included everybody else. Because, see, that was the trick bag of how they tricked us. And this is what we're worried about now with reparations, that they'll trick us again, right? Because they're going to use those specific names that include all these other groups. And now when we come to look at our benefits, everybody else is getting them, but we're not. Mind you, we were in the streets in 1964 fighting for all this stuff. Mind you, after 64 comes 1965. That is the Migration Act. We fought for these people to be able to migrate over to our country. When they get here, speaking of immigrants, they already have civil rights is already laid down. Martin Luther King, we've already fought for it. So they're looking around and they're not going through what we went through because we fought for it for them. So when I'm speaking of and alluding to is with reparations, we can't let the same thing happen. We get the reparations. However, they make it for everyone. They make it for BIPOC, people of color. They make it for, people of color is an Indian. It can be a Hispanic. It can be anyone at this point. We have to have specific lineage-based set-asides for us, tangibles, in other words. That this has to be done on the black in the black conscious community. Otherwise, like you guys were saying just before, on the people we were speaking of, we're not going to make it. We're at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of generational wealth.
I got two things to add to this though, because I want to. Okay, so I did a little research just to try to have like some minor knowledge to it. I heard that you had to be able to prove that you were claiming yourself as a black person on the census, or at least in any type of identification, for at least 12 years leading up into it. And then I also read that you had, like you said, you had to be able to prove your lineage, right? I bring that up to say, is it possible to think that if in fact we do get anything, right, that it could be a tactic to help satisfy the complete debt that the United States is in? Because I think it's kind of like ironic that right now, where we're all looking at global warming as being more relevant, how the change in the weather is just out of control, how violence is now even trickling all over into the back east in Europe and everything. Are we not seeing that this could be something that give us money to keep us happy, to not pay attention to what's consistently happening around us, which is if we're at the bottom and they're keeping us at the bottom, where financially we're always the ones that need the most assistance. Okay, here's money to keep you afloat where we're about to take off, and you guys can stay here in this wasteland, like more or less in like a Wall-E reference. You know what I mean? Here you guys stay here, fumble with this few 100,000 while we're taking the millions that we made off of you, and we're going somewhere else to continue to colonize and do all that. Because to me it's just a little bit too like right now this is the perfect time to give you money, where it's like, but couldn't we have used it during COVID, or couldn't we have maybe seen it being dispersed to
I also think, correct me if I'm wrong, because they do this with the presidency and everything like that. So correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Newsom rerunning for mayor again?
He did. Yes, he is.
So if correct me if I'm wrong, they do this with the presidency. Let's take good old Smoking Joe. What they like to do every time there's some re-election or something going on, they always like to focus on the black community because we got the votes, right?
Yes.
So they'll focus on the black community, give us some empty promises, like Ronnie said, cap. They want to cap us and say, hey, we're going to give you this. We all go, oh, man, Gavin Newsom's going to give us this, so we're going to vote for this guy. And then we vote for him, and then all of a sudden, the bill scratch, we ain't getting nothing, and we still trying to grind and hustle to get to where we at. So every time, I'm just saying, going off of what you're saying, Alvin, is they always come up with this stuff right before some kind of election.
So they did this to us already with the 40 acres and a mule. So if you ever heard of that phrase, that's because they made it, but then they made it for indigenous people. And then if you registered as indigenous, then you got it. So basically, black people were illiterate. We didn't know how to fill out paperwork. White people did. So guess what? They registered as indigenous, and they got our 40 acres and a mule.
Yeah,
And I think that this is a similar situation where half of the people are not even going to understand how to fill out the paperwork to even get the money. And with these type of things, is either use it or lose it. So they have to spend 100% of the budget. So if 45% of the budget gets dispersed to black people, what happens to the rest of the money? That's when they start funneling it in. That's when the politicians start pocketing it. And that's where a lot of the dirty politician money come from, not from them stealing money, from money that should have been dispersed to people, but they take it and they put it in their pocket because they have to use 100%. It's use it or lose it.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that is you can look at like how they gave money out to these other countries. They gave big money out to Iranian, Pakistan,
Ukraine.
Correct. The country right now that's at war. They just hooked them up with big billions of dollars. They're paying them out. They've given black people nothing, zero. You've received nothing as a black person but a headache. That's all we've received. So one thing you have to realize when you've received nothing at all, I don't want to say something is good, but they're going to pander, like the gentleman was just saying with the hat on. They're going to keep pandering to us during around election time, use us to try to get our vote. You heard Biden, he said, hey, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. They'll do anything. They go on the Breakfast Club.
Okay.
You have Kamala Harris. She was opposing as a black person. You really know she's an East Indian, and she's not from the lineage of Black American. So when they spoke about reparations to her, you got to understand how you're brought up. If you're a Black American, you were brought up, hey, they've done us wrong. They did us like this. I couldn't go to the bathroom here. She had never heard that. She's East Indian, and her dad is from Jamaica. Mind you, they didn't have Black African roots. That's why it's lineage based. A lot of black people don't understand, like, well, why does that matter? We're both black. It matters big time because the thought process, how we both look at white supremacy is different. One views white supremacy as they owe us. One views white supremacy as we need to join them and we need to heal and listen. You understand? Both black. Yep. This is the problem we're having. If we can nip that in the butt, get everybody on code, we wouldn't have this issue. But it's that issue of the two different black people we're not all on the same picture. Hey, they did us wrong. No, you're acting wrong. We should. There's two different blacks there, if you know what I'm talking about.
But to piggyback on that, I'm starting to realize that with the way certain type of schools are able to deliver different type of information, when you don't have the same criteria or the same Title V curriculum or Title V funding, you can say whatever you want to a kid. So I'm watching kids right now at the Christian schools and the Catholic schools coming back to me telling me, hey, Mr. Armstrong, I asked the teacher, how can God be white? And they're like, oh no, God's not white. He's this, he's that, he's that. Like different teachers giving them different answers, right? So now it's making certain kids believe different things. And if you have more public schools talking about how history has always been tampered with, and that how blacks are different than what we've always perceived them to be, and it's white professors teaching black history and saying that black people deserve to be more respected, it's throwing off everyone. We might know more than most kids, but the kids aren't able to decipher between who's being honest and who's being fake. So it's like, this is the kind of, once again, like I keep saying, this is to throw us off, to get the kids more confused. so that as we don't have the right minds, or we will always have the right mindsets to provide the right information to them, but other people who get complacent with all that money, dude, they're done.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up. But one thing I do want to do is I really want to bring back up Ice Cube. He had came up with a plan for Black America that he had presented to both of the presidents. And everybody killed Ice Cube for it and saying, hey, you don't represent us. Diddy tried to come out with something to represent Black America. And everybody, instead of trying to get behind it or say, hey, look, we should tweak it or formulate, everybody just opposed it, but nobody had a better solution. So it's crazy because Black people know exactly what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. And that's our problem with America. And that's what our brother was alluding to earlier, is that as soon as they see something they don't want, Black people quick to say, hell nah, that ain't it. Oh, nah, we ain't do that. Ain't, oh, nah. But when you ask them, okay, well, what you want to do? Now you hear crickets in the room, you know. And that's why we really got to understand this economy. That's where we really got to get with these economists. We really got to get with people that understand this economy that we're in and how we can change our status in this economy. Because until we get an understanding as a people and unify behind one decision as far as where we're headed as a people in America, you know, they're going to be able to keep doing this shit and getting our votes and giving us fake money that they only disperse 40% of it and pocket the rest. And then it never even ends up in the Black community. And then the Black community, the Black dollar, doesn't even stay within the Black community. So as soon as we get it, we're going to go spend it with everybody else, and it ain't going to do nothing for our communities because it's going to be out of our pockets just as fast as it got into it.
I want to say one thing just to pick really quick, because I know we got to get out of here.
Closing remarks.
Closing remark. What I'll close on is this. Just like you guys were talking about prior to the reparations, the gentleman you are talking about was the PNB Rock, the guy he had got robbed. I could think of PNB Rock. I could think of Eric Garner, George Floyd, all those people that we're talking about. You put reparations in that situation where we received them, that gentleman wouldn't have robbed them. He got $350K. We all know that. He wouldn't have had. You got to understand, poverty creates crime. So Eric Garner, he wouldn't have been selling CDs. George Floyd wouldn't have paid with a fake 20. All these stuff would have been repaired if we would have had reparations. What is the root word? Reparations is a root word for repair. So I will leave on that note, just knowing if we were to be reparated, this stuff wouldn't be happening. It's all this poverty that we're going through that's creating the crime. That's pretty much the stint of it. I wanted to leave on that note.
Just to piggyback off that real quick, Kay, I think we saw a great example of that in 2020 when everybody was getting all that EDD and everybody had bread. I bet we can go look up the numbers, and I bet crime was significantly lower when everybody was getting all that damn money. I bet we could look at the numbers. The streets was not as active when everybody was getting all that money. So yes, poverty creates crime, and they know this. That's the reason why they put us in that situation. That's the reason why they pushed us to the projects and made us be in poverty communities, because they know that it associates with crime. It's done by design. This is done by design. So I know I could continue going off, but that's I just want to end. I think we have to add to that real quick.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else before we get up out of here?
Oh, closing remarks on this? Or are we shouting out?
Nah,
closing remarks on this.
On
this, I just want to close on that. It's true, you know, poverty does create crime, but I also want to make sure that we don't forget that when we were going through the hardest times, we didn't know that we were just trying to survive. And now that we're in these, 2020s, I want to say from 2020 to 2022 now, we've seen everything that we've gone through turn into entertainment. And we've watched other cultures try to imitate it to make it something exciting and something worth fighting for. Whereas if they actually understood the struggle when they didn't. I mean, I wear hats a lot, but you guys always know I got my braids underneath. And I laugh because it's so messed up to see how many things that we are afraid to show. Like, I don't wear my hair out as much because I know it makes me more intimidating when I open my mouth. I'm already scary enough, and I'm bright. Like I'm telling you guys, I'm bright, but you could feel that hate and you could feel that animosity. So I just hope people remember that as we move forward in life, just to embrace who we are and stop trying to be something that we're not, because everybody's trying to be us. Black makes black. Like, regardless, my wife ain't, but she knows.
And we and with our struggles and everything, we make it look beautiful. And a lot of other cultures can't deal with that. So that's why they hate us even more. Because we're supposed to be down. We're supposed to be depressed. We're supposed to be killing each other. But we keep thriving. And why won't we keep the noose around our necks? So my closing remarks is actually to Caleb, as in, let's say they do, this ain't cap, and they really giving it out. And like how you said, that 40%. Maybe you should have an episode where if giving the knowledge on how to fill it out. So then it's on YouTube. Then we can share it out to other brothers and sisters and be like, yo, check this out. This is how you fill it out. This is how you get your bread, or this is how you get the pothole in your community fixed.
You see, but black people going, as I'm going to close out, when you mention the PPP loans, the people found out how to fill out the PPP loans to get them, and instead of giving the information out so that black people can capitalize off this, they sold it. Hey, I can get you the PPP. I can get you 20,000, but you got to pay me 8. You got to pay me 5. You got to pay me 10. So, and that's what we do as a community. So until we get over that and actually share information without trying to gatekeep and hold it, because that's our mentality, is that once one person learns something, they gatekeep it. So, it's up to us to actually, get this information and spread it without trying to gatekeep it, so that people can actually capitalize and we can actually make a difference with this money. And then once I was saying is that we have to have some type of structure, some type of, pool, some type of something for black people to do with this money. We have to have some type of economist, some type of, money people telling people where to put this money. You get a $350,000 check, don't put it into no regular checking account. You put it into an IRA, put it into a will, put it into a trust. Figure something out to do with this money. Play the stock market, get some Bitcoin, do something with this money where you're not just throwing it in a bank account and spending it until it's gone. And that's the thing that we got to learn what money is. We think it's just some cash thing. We pay for goods, but money is a concept. Money is a thought. We got to understand that to really make a difference in the black community. Let's get some shout outs before we get out of here.
I'll start it off then. I just want to shout out all you guys for being on the podcast tonight. This was a lot deeper than what I anticipated. So the fact that we're just being this transparent with each other and also sharing it with the world, I think is really honorable. As always, I got to shout out Brand of Encouragement. I got to shout out my own focus on the future. I got to shout out all the kids that eventually pay attention to this, because they do go back and watch. And shout out to everybody who believes in themselves, because there's nobody that's going to believe in you more than the person you see in the mirror.
I'll go next. Shout out to the whole panel, every brother that is on here. For reals. Like, being on this podcast, and when I first remember being on here, and like how the mayor was saying, we got into a deep conversation and everything like that. By me being on here, I get so much knowledge from you brothers. So I remember back in the day, me and my boy Ronnie. My boy Ronnie's like, you coon, you need to get yourself together. You coon ass, like, get your shit together, And over time, getting the knowledge and learning, and going, okay, cool, the awakening. So being able, I appreciate that. That helped me out. And then on the last note, I just want to say, Monday was my anniversary to my wife. We 9 years strong. So my last shout out goes out to her. Thank you for riding with me, being my queen, helping me raise 2 beautiful children. And That's my shout out.
Yeah.
Congratulations, brother.
First off, you know what I mean. Like the mayor said, shout out to all the brothers on the panel. Shout out to the reparation expert. I didn't get your name, but a shout out to you, man, for coming on and educating us. Congratulations, y'all educated. I want to give a personal shout out to you too, man, about definitely upping your knowledge and doing what we've been doing for these years, and you definitely came a long way as far as knowing shit. So more power to you, bro. Respect. And shout out to everybody that fuck with PolitiKan the podcast, PolitiKan the brand, period. Watching the movement, watching the growth. Shout out to Dank Sinatra for providing the plays and coming up with the plan years ago and helping us execute this plan, man. Just want to see us to continue to grow and watch us for 2023. Watch us coming.
Let's go, economist.
Oh
Let's get
yeah,
some
no
shout outs.
Hey, first and foremost, I just wanted to say thank you guys for even having me. It's a refreshing feeling to be around black gentlemen like yourself, just in a positive light. I'm always at the gas station, Chevron, AMPM, and going through the whole Mad Dog thing that we always got to go through, and just to hear you guys' thoughts. And I know you guys have some beautiful thoughts and ideas, and to hear them all, and just to be at bay and not always have you on the swivel is it's a beautiful thing in itself, because we're beautiful people. So I wanted to say that first and foremost, and just thank you for having me and letting me educate. It's hard being black. This is a very hard thing to be. To fight against white supremacy is hard. It seems like you're a complaining person all the time. So for all of you guys that do that, got kids, and my man said he's married, you've already checked off so many boxes that they said we couldn't do. They didn't think we'd be here. So I'll close out on just saying thank you to all you guys for having me. It's a pleasure. And you guys are some really intelligent black men. I'm just very proud of it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, so I want to start off thanking Murdoch, man. Murdoch on the boards, allowing me to step away from production and just, host, be a talent, speak. I used to produce my own show, and it was hard for me to get into the show while trying to produce the show and be on the show, host the show. So shout out to Murdoch, man. He's a blessing for real. A real solid dude. What's the deal, Murdoch?
Murdoch, shout out to my nigga Murdoch.
Big Murdoch.
Murdoch in Colombia.
From Colombia, baby.
Yes, sir. But I just want to leave with my favorite quote, because in America, man, black people we're going against some crazy odds, man. And somehow we beat the odds. Somehow we find a way to be happy, smile, joke, and keep our heads up through all this shit, man. But, we in the cage with a lion, you know what I'm saying? For real. So I always say this, and y'all know this for sure, you know what I'm saying? If they put you in a cage with a lion, just because you don't try to eat the lion, don't mean the lion ain't gonna try to eat you, man. PolitiKan the podcast. We out.